We are live. It's that time on Wednesday. How's it going, Heather?
It's going great. Fantastic. My favorite part of the week.
It looks like you're dressed for moving. Are you in the process of moving?
I'm in the process of moving the southern homestead to the permanent northern homestead. So, yeah, we will be closing on a house in a little over, 10 days or so. And
wow.
All that's done virtual now, which is kind of crazy. You don't have to go to a little room in a title company anymore. They just put you on a call and you handle it all over the phone and sign away that mortgage, which is great.
Yeah. I would imagine it could be a little scary doing putting your name on a note that's that big virtually.
Yeah, actually, this is getting rid of the mortgage.
Oh, that's true. All right, that's good. That's good.
Away with a check in my pocket.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Well, so for those of you who don't know who we are, I'm Matt. This is Heather. This is How to CPCU. We are a production of volunteers from the CPCU Society. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, retweet, do all the good things that you can do to help us share this message and put it out there. We cover basically the CPCU Society and the CPCU designation. So all the good stuff that comes with it, the value from the society, all the awesome people and organizations and stuff like that that make the society as fantastic and rewarding as it is. So today we have another in our series of profiles on the interest groups that are a part of the CPCU Society. And because I'm going to be outnumbered by state farmers, I'm going to let you, Heather, do the introduction of our guest for the folks who are watching.
So we are super excited to have Dawayne Eason with us, who is one of the chairs of the Information Technology Interest Group. He's my fellow comrade in crime over here when it comes to the world that we do outside of all of our fun CPCU work. Excited to have you here, Dawayne.
I am super excited. When Heather Blevins, she sends a message to you, it says, "Hey, I need you," then you respond. It's not even close, because first of all, she's probably got half the followers on her Twitter. It was very literally about half a billion. And then in terms of all the letters she has behind her name, it's like alphabet. I think they got even, I think some ampersands and stuff like that. When Mama Blevins says, "Hey, I need you," you just, you can't even still. But no, I appreciate the opportunity. It's exciting. Always passionate and love to talk about what the society's doing, what we're doing as far as in our IT area, and just share whatever I can with everybody. So excited y'all invited us. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, so if anyone who's unfamiliar with you and hasn't met you or kind of interacted with you remotely, who are you and kind of what is your role with the ITIG right now?
Great. Yeah. So I am, of course, Dawayne Eason. I've been a CPCU member since 2013 is when I got I received my designation. I am one of the co-chairs, as Matthew and Heather mentioned, for the IT interest group currently. Basically, our role is to help those look at, from a technical standpoint, how the world of insurance and everything is being shaped by technology. And I think COVID pretty much put everybody at, you have to push technology even faster, and it's around you everywhere. So our group became even that much more significant, right? When we're having to think about ways of being able to virtually speak, as we're doing right now, right? How we're able to more webinars that are more significant. Okay, when we had the leadership council, what are the things that we're able to do? So now let's take that from a holistic space to like microcosm, like what we can do in terms of the individual areas that we're able to support, right? And so our group basically, and none of us are coders or developers. So let me back up. Nobody here knows script or Python, like something crazy. Okay, that's not what the requirement is to be in that space. Let's just get that clear. That's not me. But if you know the world of business and you have your eye on things that, hey, technology is moving things such as AI, such as automation in vehicles, everything that's around that, how is that going to influence or impact areas that I support? So that's our deal. And we're small but a mighty group, and we're always trying to be the face of that technology for our industry.
Awesome.
Yeah, Dwayne, I was just going to say, and I don't want to start you out with a really tough question here, but
she's gonna.
We know that technology is just it is accelerating at such a rapid rate right now, and as you said, COVID has really brought that the circumstances of something that was just tremendous to the entire world has brought that to light in our industry in so many different ways. What do you see are some of the biggest learnings that those that are working in the technology space right now in insurance have gained from COVID, and how can we continue to push the envelope and push the edge with those in the coming years? Not set ourselves back and say, no, we're just going to go back to the way it was. So.
You're right. That's a good question. So I think a couple of things. I think one, if there were questions that if you did go virtually because of some type of business continuity issue or some type of recovery that your business area needed to be done, you were able to prove it out by doing the virtual opportunities as far as with work. So a lot of areas and businesses saw that, what we have, we are still able to be productive. Along with staying productive, we've actually got more done by having this type of flexibility. We've saved on some operation costs, okay? And we've also been able to create a more flexibility for our work-life balance for our associates. So we're able to do that, and without interrupting our business. I think that's always the biggest piece. You want to make sure that, hey, okay, we have something that's in place, but will it interrupt what we're doing in terms of our customers? Our customers shouldn't feel any impacts. They're paying for this promise that you're providing for us, right? So I think that for our technology industry, for our business industry, we learned that, hey, what we have in place, it is possible. We can do these things. Now, I think the other piece of that is that we have to keep pushing outside of what we normally do. So, for example, maybe internally, there are some applications and tools that your area uses, but you're now starting to think about, okay, we may have to also outsource some of these things because, we may have to utilize some other channels such as a Zoom, if you're not used to it, you probably start to become a real big expert on doing Zoom calls because your application may be now inundated to handle that type of deal. So it also taught us to start researching and learning about other things that it won't be an impact if things like this continue. So I think those were some things that because of this issue that drove out some of the opportunities there.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people would say that technology has been one of the saving graces of, this entire situation, where whether the pieces were in place beforehand or whether or not they were just kind of like available for kind of like a quick swap or transition.
Yeah.
I think that cushioned the blow, at least for the insurance industry specifically, as far as that goes. Let me ask you, in terms of the ITIG, is the ITIG relatively new? Has it gone through some transition? What's kind of its existence been like?
Right. So, and that's a good point. So we are going, of course, through a transition. So I guess about a year or two ago, society decided, hey, we need to restructure our groups, our committees, those things. And when they kept going back to technology, they were like, well, it's everywhere, okay? No matter if it is claims, no matter if it is personal lines, no matter if it is commercial, it is everywhere, okay? And so that was an area that was really focused on, we got to make sure that it is coordinating with everybody. That is just so important. So what that meant for us, instead of being an interest group, we had to become that committee, okay? Because we now need to service everybody in those things. And so the second thing was that we're going to have to revitalize or reinvent ourselves in terms of, okay, how we did things before. We may have to reshift and focus how we're going to do things now. What that means is that we have to be more intentional in working with every group, okay, and looking at their business plans, how they're able to help the society move forward. And what we need to do is, okay, where there are things in place technology-wise that you have not researched or looked at, or if you have, how are we able to help you move forward with that? And so that's going to, for our team, okay, we're going to have to, again, increase our roster. All right, that's one. And then two, we're going to have to definitely be so ingrained in everybody's business plan in the areas and how they're focused in helping. We're going to have to definitely be subject matter experts of everybody's, okay, interest committee, because it's going to take that, understanding your architect, your infrastructure, to be able to help you. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. We're doing so much in terms of meeting as a group, discussing our game plans, and we're just kind of going through that reinvention, is what I would call it right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we've had quite a few of the other ITs on the call and on our weekly webcast as well. And, for somehow the conversation always ends up somewhere in the technology space. It's because we realize that there's just this coming tsunami that is going to engulf all of us if you're not on board with it, basically. And the recognition of that by the other interest groups has been, they've all realized that. How would you suggest, as you guys are moving through this time, because we know that it's going to be this year, you're still in IG probably, and then you're going to start rolling to being more of that committee aspect. But to start to build those relationships with you guys, how would you suggest that the other IGs try to work with you, and how can you guys best plug in with each other?
Right. I think, well, the first thing is just when these IGs are having maybe their monthly or bi-monthly meetings, that conversation, I think the first thing is to make sure they invite one of us, okay, or somebody from our group to listen in, okay, introduce ourselves, to kind of say, hey, we're all learning this, but just get that meet and greet out the way. So I think that's the first thing, is that, and I think to continue to build on that, always think about, having somewhere on your agenda for IT. It could be 30 seconds, it could be 5 minutes, it could be whatever, but always having that place, because you have to make sure that you start to form a habit of having our area be involved in whatever conversations. And as you do that, now you have a foundation of, we're not going to do anything unless we make sure we consult or share with our IT partners, because it doesn't help if people are, I guess, they duplicate efforts, where maybe somebody on our team has been able to research and learning some new things about something in your area. And all of a sudden your team is thinking about doing something related with that. Well, again, if we're not talking and we're not sharing these ideas and thoughts, then again, yeah, that could be lost communication. So I think it's very important that all these groups make sure that they reach out to us, make sure we're on their agenda, share whatever they want to share, do that, have that relationship built. And then again, as it fosters, it will just continue to grow and grow, and it will just be something that is something that's just going to be a habit.
Expect some calls, because I just texted our two chairs from the claims IG.
Call them up. All right, Jeff Hester. That's my name, Jeff Hester.
Definitely send any of the negative feedback, send to Jeff. If you have positive things to say, send it to Dawayne.
He's quality control. That's his job. He's quality control.
Let me ask you something a little. Kind of like higher altitude here.
Sure.
IT is integral in like a lot of these verticals with the insurance industry, but I'm not sure a lot of people that get into IT would think about going, specifically in the insurance industry, would think about going through and getting the CPCU designation. All right. Yeah. So what kind of led you on that path, and what's really like the value there that getting, a very kind of insurance specific designation helps when, a lot of your day to day is, more so mired in, network technology and things like that?
That's a good question. So I think to be versatile and to be an asset in your space, you need to learn as much as you can. So I grew up in the business with a business acumen, and that was primarily reason why I needed to gain that CPCU, to understand the whole process from A to Z. Now, let's take, for example, if I was IT and I grew up and I had a computer science degree and those types of things, why would it be important to understand that business area? Well, to be able to shift and understand some of the whys behind the story. I can code, I can put things in perspective for a user experience, but I don't understand why in the world are you making that business decision? So being able to understand that part of the process allows you to do your work much, much cleaner, because then you have an idea, because you know the goal of what the business wants, you know how it works. So great, I understand these are what the reasons why they would ask these questions. And I can have a more direction of how I'm putting, and actually I'm able to ask better questions, okay? Because you think about that, where you have an idea of a decision a business area is going, regardless of what line of business, you can then ask some more specific driven questions. You be better off doing ABC instead of these things. Well, you won't know that unless you have that business acumen. And that's why that's important.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when people work with, your technology areas in an organization, the people who understand the business side, they become the translators a lot of times.
Exactly.
That pathway to being able to be a good translator in between technology and business. In my own personal experiences, anytime that I've ever worked with somebody in technology, it is so powerful whenever they speak your language and they understand the challenges of a claim space or an underwriting space, or what is it, why does the business operate this way and how they do it. And honestly, from the technology side, you're able to probably produce faster, more agile products and do the things you need to do because you have that background knowledge and that underpinning of what exactly it is that they do in personal lines underwriting. You have the foundation. So, and that's my selling point for everybody that works in technology and wants to come and learn about the business. You will become more effective. You will become more able to be proactive in your work because you understand what that business is, what they're doing and why they're doing it. So
I 100% agree. You can look at your work totally different and feel differently as far as adding value, and not necessarily just typing in codes and variables and those types of things. You're able to actually, as you're saying, assess exactly some of the work and some of the questions or the goals of what the business is trying to do. You're able to assess, well, but based on what y'all do, we do it this way, then this can impact our user. So you can ask those questions and don't feel, again, I'm just being here to do this and don't have an understanding why. That will be much easier as far as in your transition, and also, again, being that impactful, valuable associate for your industry. Yeah.
So let me ask you kind of like more of a. I went high. I'll go like more kind of like focused now. Kind of like practically with a lot of this technology coming into the industry, things like AI and some of these big data mining and big data kind of like crunching operations and machine learning operations that are coming in. What has that done in terms of the refreshment cycle as far as the actual hardware? Like, I know that the software is up and coming and whatnot, but do we have the hardware available to be able to support some of this stuff? Or is there an accelerated timeline now where we're basically going to have to swap out a lot of the, hardwired tech that's already built into a lot of these businesses?
You hit it on the head, Matthew, because I've been talking to some of my data scientist folks who are actually working in with the personal lines area with our company personally, and they're going through some changes in some of their auditing or their quoting processes. And so some of that's been outdated. And so now they're having to go through this whole changes, and that's going to happen. Okay. I think the biggest piece that you have to understand is, have a process in place, how this all transition needs to look, because this is going to always happen. Things are not going to always keep up. All right. You're going to have to make changes eventually every so often. It's how you transition that information and how quickly you're not able to disrupt anything in your industry. I think that's the biggest piece. So what are you going to have to do? And my buddy used to tell me that his uncle used to always say, if they ask you, I give you an hour to cut a tree, he said he'll spend 50 minutes sharpening his axe, meaning that he's got to do the research, the homework first before he just starts doing that work. That part of it is going to be so incredibly valuable because, as you mentioned, there's so much regarding AI, natural language process, all the big data. There's so much out there. Okay. Who knows what is the best? Who knows where to go? Well, you got to do that homework, that due diligence first. And it's so important to do that and get it right, because when you're starting to move all these pieces, you just can't say, hold up, let's change.
No.
Right, you really have to be efficient on that. So that's what it is, the preparation, being researching, because it's going to happen every so often when you're trying to make these changes and keep up with all the software you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, once the ball gets rolling in that direction, it's really hard to pivot, right? Like,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
not to mention the fact that the financial outlay, just to start
Yeah.
some of these things is gigantic. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
definitely.
you usually do in house. All that you usually outsource that and stuff. So, and the reason why is because you have that group is going to be able to support. Because if you did some of this in house, what if some of those people left? Then all of a sudden you're left with trying to figure out who did what? What did Heather Blevins do? We don't know. We can't figure that out. She was that rock star. So she won the lottery and she's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. So that monetary is also going to be a big role in that. And understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to kind of tag on to the whole discussion here about, AI, robotic process and engineering and everything that's coming, because everybody that is in a job right now looks at all of that and has a lot of times they put on their glasses and they realize that, hey, wait a minute, this is coming and this is going to replace my job. Because you talk about like straight through claims processing and straight through underwriting, those types of concepts where we are accelerating what is happening in those spaces, mainly because it's good for our customers, it's good for us as a company to do that, but the people impact of that is difficult a lot of times for folks because they look at it and they go, well, how can I stay relevant? How do I keep my skill sets at a level that doesn't say tomorrow my job as a claims adjuster is now gone? So what do you have to? What's your thoughts around that? Because that's a true and real like human emotion about our industry right now because of all of this forthcoming change that has happened with the acceleration of technology. What do you recommend to people so they can stay relevant?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think so if people are on this call and they've got designations, whatever, they became relevant because they always want to continuously learn, right? And their job wasn't the same job 10 years ago. Whatever, if the title might be different or processes or whatever, it all changed. They had to embrace something to adapt to that. So the adaptability is going to be huge. So how do you adapt? Well, you better understand, okay, what are some of the things that are these tools and these processes are doing that was something that's being taken away? Because now there's an area that is probably not needed anymore, okay? And because you have something that's automated, or something that's moved much faster, and as you mentioned, as a business sense, that is what is needed. So, okay, so that's gone. What's something that's added? What is the area that now is needed by that being an absence? And how can I transition to that space? So you have to do your homework on exactly, okay, what spaces that have been created. So for example, as you automation of a lot of tools and things that have been added, but what are been placed in the industry. So what was added? Well, data. And Matt just talked about it, that big data, that information of so many of that, trying to calculate and trying to understand it. So meeting more people to handle that data, to understand it, to wrap it. So there's your opportunity. Okay, all of a sudden now, because I know the business, I know the area, I know how things are doing from the underwriting side, from the claims side. So now it's transitioned to more or less of telling stories through that. So maybe I can learn that, and I can understand how to share exactly what is happening because I understood what was happening on the side. So there's opportunity where one thing is going to be removed. There's something that's got to be added, and that's what I would encourage individuals who need to adapt and change, because this is going to keep going,
Yeah, I think being on the broker side myself, the death of the insurance broker has been we've been waiting for it for 30 plus years now, and it still hasn't come. But but what has come is the evolution of how the job is done. So to your point, I'm completely on board with that. Like you might have to metamorphose a little bit and change and evolve a little bit in terms of like where you're fitting in or where you're adding value. So your exact day to day isn't the same thing, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be completely outmoded, because I think a lot of people worry that, like, overnight, like, the number of jobs in the insurance industry is just going to get cut in half. And that just doesn't play out.
Right.
If I was, what was the father's job in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Like, putting the caps on the toothpaste tube or whatever, right? Like, if that was my job, I'd be worried. But then again, later on in the same movie, he ends up being the guy who repairs the machine that replaced him, right? Like, so it's not like a no one, or it's not like a zero sum game. Like, you can get better technology, and you can have still positions for those people that maybe have to shift, which is really good. Let me ask you, kind of like in terms of the ITIG and the service, or kind of some of the knowledge and the experiential stuff that you can add to, say, like the chapters, the other IGs and things like that. What does that take the form of? Does it take the form of, presentations, seminars, webinars? Like, what's that going to look like going out into the future?
So a lot of things. So first of all, we have our site, and we're excited that we have started to put up some daily trends in the technology field. I think last month during Black History Month, we had a lot of great articles up there regarding diversity, highlighting a lot of profile individuals with that. And then we started to recognize individuals during Women History Month as far as in technology. And now you'll start to see trends and information from us on a weekly, monthly basis of things that are out there. So that's the first thing, is that we're pushing resources out to everybody, as fast as we can get it. So please get out there, get into our site. As you can see, we have a lot of information that we have just added, and a great job by Miss Martha. She has just been on that, and we just love her to death. But that is the first thing. Then the second thing, as I said before, we're going to start to build our relationship with our groups there that we're able to start working with. And we'll be doing that by being on their agenda. We'll still be added to the chair calls and those committees, so we're able to be on those agendas. And then we will adapt and identify ways that what is best. Is it webinars? Is that the best way? Is it being at those individual meetings on it? I mean, whatever we feel comfortable and groups feel that, hey, this is actually working, that connection, that's what we're going to continuously do. So our group will definitely make sure we have a plan in place. We'll be comfortable with that process. And then everybody will have a great foundation with our IT committee.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I would say, I would encourage anybody who is an interest group leader right now to make sure to make that connection sooner rather than later, because you start building that relationship and just building the foundation of what you guys are going to be as you transform and evolve into a committee. So it's a process. We are all working through the changes that have been coming to the interest groups, and there's groups that are combining, and there's groups that kind of still got to stay, kind of whole and intact just because they were covered one large area. But it's important for all of us to make sure to continue to network. CPCU Society has all of those opportunities, and this is just a great opportunity for all of us to step out and really kind of start to enmesh information technology into everything that we're doing with our interest groups. So
100% agree. 100% agree. And I will just put a little plug for our team. Even though if you're volunteered on a interest group or a committee, it doesn't say you don't have to, can't be on our team also. So, if you want to we'd love to have you get involved. Be that liaison. Again, we're recruiting and building our members as much as possible, because we know that it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting until we have a good solid foundation for what we're wanting to accomplish with the other groups and committees and everything. And so, and Heather, that land surveyor, is it about a couple acres? Is he kind of surveying? You know, she had, I mean, it's Heather's world. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were talking about that on the beginning of the call with the upcoming move that's happening, shutting down the southern homestead and consolidating into one up there in the north, but didn't show up on my doorstep on the call today, but he did.
There you go. I know.
Adaptability, flexibility, that's what we're all about.
It's the price you pay for fame, Matthew. It's the price you pay.
Look, it's better to be wanted too much than not at all. That's for sure.
I'm sure, it's the heaviest the crown. Well, I'm just saying, heaviest the crown.
Well, so what do you see as the future? Are there any like outside associations? I guess you're still kind of like putting the skeleton together, so to speak, or the foundation together. But are there other outside associations or groups that you're looking to form a relationship with? Like, the one reason why I ask is because the New Jersey chapter, we do a lot of work with IDMA, which is the International Data Management Association. Right. And it's just really convenient because they're located here in North Jersey, and their executive director is right out of there. So it makes for a really good relationship. So I can definitely link up that relationship. Are there others out there that you're looking to potentially link up with and kind of bring their expertise into the CPCU Society or vice versa?
Everybody. It doesn't matter. Again, and the reason why I say that is because the point that society made, that technology is in front of all of us. And if you don't get out in front of it, especially as a business, then you're going to be so far behind on things that the whole world has already been introduced to. And I know, for example, I was reading one article about chatbots. And there was really good piece on one business area who talked about how they just started to get introduced to it. And, even though there's only a certain percentage of the audience that would engage, they saw that there was so much a benefit of the data collection, information of how they were able to help their users, that they just felt like they were so far behind on not even getting introduced to it, and now having to iterate, in smaller pieces, which is smart. But they felt that, hey, we'd have been ahead of this a lot earlier. There's so many other things that they think they could have been at this point, but now they're further back. So yes, everybody and everything that we will be so happy to work with, talk with, understand their area, have them understand ours. And whatever works, we're happy to look at that. So yeah, anybody, we have not formed any specifics, but we're willing to do what they're right. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So if anyone out there in internet land has connections with outside organizations or associations, you could definitely hit up Jeff or Dwayne to maybe bring that connection into the fold for them, which would be good. So
very true. Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
For sure. So Dwayne, we are like, I think that as we start to wind down here, the important thing that I think everybody needs to remember about technology is it is no longer like that siloed area that sits over here and does what they do, and then brings you back something that maybe doesn't fit the way that you think it should fit. I've seen so much more, especially in our industry, where technology is almost fully integrated into business, and it's not. They still are a separate function a lot of times in an organization, but they are so ingrained in the business. And that's why the knowledge that you guys bring as an interest group forward for CPCUs and even non-CPCUs as well is so crucial, so that people can see that holistic integration that does need to happen in between the two, because we all know insurance companies have been challenged by legacy systems for how long? I mean, like, it is the biggest hurdle for insurance companies and the mountain that they have been trying to climb. It is their Everest that they have not ever reached the summit of, because there hasn't been that wall, that barrier doesn't seem like it's been fully broken down. But this past year, you kind of watch that wall just almost crumble.
Right.
I'm like, you didn't have a choice other than to allow it to crumble. So that's just me waxing philosophical there for a minute. But I think it's important that we show on the show here, people can engage with the ITIG and be at the forefront of how those things are going to integrate, because you guys are in the midst of integrating with all of the business groups that are represented with all the other IGs. And sooner rather than later is the way you need to go with that. So
100% agree. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I think I read an article. Those are from 25 to 19 years of age. 70% of them use a natural language processing. Okay, so if it's from Siri to Google Assistant to anything that you're using that. So imagine that number of that age group, okay, using that functionality. Okay, what impacts is that going to have for you if you're not already maybe looking to put some type of skill handler on Alexa and for your company, so they can use that to get an insurance card or pay their bill, because that's what they're using. If you're not in front of that right now, then again you'll be outdated really quick. So very important that we look and find ways to help.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, look, I want to be respectful of your time. I appreciate you coming on board and quite frankly, getting Jeff out from under the gun. So, I think he owes you a beer or something like that. But at least. I would personally say anyone who is even remotely involved in the technology space in the insurance world, you would be well served by becoming a part of this, the organization being the society and getting your designation, but also getting involved in the information technology, what will be the committee that's essentially going to be the backbone of a lot of what we do here. It's going to be, a very important piece. So you would be well served, to get involved from that standpoint. I'll leave it with you, Dwayne. I'll give you the last word or pitch. Is there somewhere where folks can find more information about the IT group, and then also anything that we didn't cover, or any kind of parting words that you'd like to leave everyone with?
Sure, but yeah, so if you go to the sites, there is that link as far as interest groups. We are listed. It's still under the interest groups as far as IT interest groups. That is where our page is. So if you want to go there, you can see our team. You can see information about that. So please go there. Drop us a line. I think we should have some email addresses or Twitter accounts or anything like that. If you're following Heather, then you're going to be good. So it's not even a question. But we're there. That's where you're able to get our information. There's people in society, from Michael and Jess, everybody, that if you're needing to reach out to us, then we'll be able to get a hold of you. But as you said, Matt and Heather, we are definitely, if you would love to be a part of something that, again, is a part of everything in some way or some form, it's touching whatever you do. It's just how much is it touching? And it will be getting bigger and bigger. So how are you able to help and assist and learn more? It'd be definitely beneficial to be a part of our group and help us from other perspectives. We want to learn other avenue. We don't want to be the only thing that's just looking at this. We love other lenses to be a part of this. So we appreciate your time today. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. And again, invite me back. I'll be happy to come talk to y'all again.
Fantastic.
All right.
Final words, Heather?
Well, thanks, Dwayne. And I can't leave you without saying Boomer Sooner, man.
I knew you were going to do it.
Yeah, hey, stick around.
Good.
Stick around. Stick around for a little bit after the show. Don't just head out. I want to chat with you. I think I have an idea for a webinar for IT and claims together.
Awesome.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to talk a little shop after we roll out here, but remember, How to CPCU every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Central. Definitely subscribe, comment, like, share, get this out there, and we will see you next week. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right. Good one.